right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the show. This is The Slate. We are a DraftKings program. We take you up until 6 o'clock. All lines and odds presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook. We've got salaries up from DraftKings as well. Brendan Glasheen, Jeff Ulrich. We will be with you until just about 6 o'clock on this Monday. It is Patriots Day in Boston today, and those who celebrate in New England. Boston Marathon today. And so congratulations to all the runners today. Folks that were in the wheelchairs today as well, those events, excellent stuff. I always think I'm biased, Jeff, but it's a pretty cool event here in the area. And it's the 10-year anniversary since the marathon bombing. So it's kind of an action-packed weekend and day here. So.
Absolutely, man. You don't have to be biased. I think everyone knows the Boston Marathon's pretty cool. Oldest running race, I believe, in the United States. And big event for distance runners, of course. I used to be a distance runner myself, Clash. Actually done a couple marathons. Never got out to Boston though, but
Really? You've done full marathons, 26.2?
Yeah, 3. So, but that was a while. I haven't done one in like 10 years. My Achilles wouldn't let me run that far anymore, unfortunately. But
yeah. Nice.
Cool event. Definitely. I would like to come out and at least see it one year. But
yeah, well, you picked the right year to not come because it's very soggy.
That's what I saw on the highlights. I'm like, I'm kind of glad I'm not there right now.
The lead up, there was a possibility it could have been very warm because it was warm here on Thursday and Friday. But I think as a runner, I'd prefer it to be a little cooler as opposed to warm. But today was cool, but soggy. Anywho, congratulations to all the runners. Those are cool event. So we got a couple things we want to hit on here in the next half hour. Stanley Cup playoffs are tonight. We'll get to that. Recap of the RBC Heritage, Fitzpatrick, Spieth in the playoff. Jordan Spieth kind of blew it, in my opinion. Anyway, Cantlay was in there at the end too, but Fitzpatrick snuck in and made it interesting. And of course, he won it. We'll get to golf, preview the Mexico Championship. I want to spend a second here on the Jalen Hurts contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. So if I remember correctly, there was discussion that Hurts was going to take a little less, a more team-friendly deal. As it turns out, he is now the highest paid player in the National Football League with this contract. Of course, they can finagle and rework it as the contract goes. But Jeff, your initial thoughts on this deal for Hurts and what it means for the Eagles, the upcoming season, the NFC, etc.
I mean, yeah, like you could say, maybe Hurts didn't take the discount, but you look at Jalen Hurts, the guaranteed money he got versus, say, Deshaun Watson and even Russell Wilson. Both of those players got more guaranteed money up front than Jalen Hurts did. I think it's absolutely a fine contract for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is just where the quarterback market is headed, unfortunately. There's nothing you can do about it as a team. You either are going to not pay Jalen Hurts, go through some kind of Lamar Jackson scenario, and attempt to redraft a quarterback and get another rookie deal going, which is just a big bag of mystery and, who knows what's going to happen there. Or you're going to pay the market value on Jalen Hurts, which is pretty much exactly what they paid. Look, I mean, it's a lot of money, but I think this is a win for the Eagles. I really do. It's a 5-year term, and I think that's the biggest thing. You have a 5-year window now with Jalen Hurts. He's not an old guy. He's just coming into his prime. He showed improvement as a passer. You have A.J. Brown there. You have elite wide receivers. He improved his accuracy rating. He improved his DVOA per play, or EPA per play, excuse me. Mm-hmm. Pretty much everything about Jalen Hurts showed that this is a quarterback who unlocked upside where, he's a good enough quarterback to take your team to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl even if you don't have an elite defense, because the Eagles did have solid defense. They weren't that good against the run. They struggled down the stretch of points. This gives the Eagles a window to work with Jalen Hurts. And you know what? At the end of 5 years, late 20s, early 30s, this is kind of when the wheels fall off for rushing quarterbacks. You want to reevaluate then and not want to re-up Jalen Hurts? Fine. You've gotten the 5 best years out of your player here is a second-round draft pick. This makes way too much sense. I mean, there's not people poking holes in this or whatever. I don't even know what holes you'd poke in. It's completely fine, in my opinion. Extremely versatile player. A player who I just like from the get-go. People forget about Jalen Hurts, Clash. Like, this is a player who in college basically got supplanted and went to another school. And in that scenario, there's a lot of players just wouldn't take it well. Like that would be the end of them. Jalen Hurts went to another school, had even more success. And that's the kind of personality you want to give these contracts to. You don't want to give them to a guy like Deshaun Watson, who is pure turmoil off the field, who knows what kind of personality you're dealing with. You want to give it to a guy like Jalen Hurts, man. Of course you pay Jalen Hurts. This was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think the price is only going up too, right? And that's what
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had this discussion with I think with LaMarca and Garion at the end of last week or the week before. What was it again? There was a very reputable reporter put it out there that Mac Jones and Bill Belichick had been shopping Mac Jones. I think that Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. That's what it was.
Sure. Yeah.
And Garion and LaMarca wanted to squeeze that in at the end. I did not prompt this, but I said to them, because I said, go get Lamar Jackson. If Bill Belichick doesn't believe in Mac Jones, then just go get Lamar Jackson and pay him now. Because if Mac Jones is any good or decent, he's going to get the Daniel Jones contract and then some, right? So look what Daniel Jones just got. So the cap, the quarterback cap money is only going to go up each and every year. I thought this was a good note or an important note from Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. Hurts will make $64 million through the first new year of his deal in 2024. This should give the Eagles cap flexibility the next 2 seasons before his cap hit jumps. Right. I didn't even think about what you said. That's a great point about if indeed the Eagles, if they don't scale it back with his rushing ability and want to continue to take advantage of that, well, at least the deal runs out at a time where you're not too vulnerable with the deal. I would like to think, though, they have to trust him more as a passer, and that will come with time, I would like to think. So
I wouldn't be shocked if you saw the Eagles dial down the rushing calls a bit for Jalen Hurts. They've committed to 5 years. Yeah. They certainly don't want to put their player in a position where, he's just banging in, red line rushes like 10, 12 red line rushes per game. But at the same time, I mean, this is their window too, right? Like if they get in contention down the stretch, I'm not expecting Jalen Hurts to all of a sudden not take the ball in the red zone, but there could be a little bit more what you call handling of Jalen Hurts going forward. I think that they kind of rushed him back last season because they were in the playoff race and they needed that number 1 seed and they saw it as such a good chance. And you know what? They almost did it. But in future years, maybe they don't because they've got a 5-year window now. It's not necessarily a 1-year thing. I don't know. This is still Jalen Hurts, who, much like Cam Newton, one of his biggest assets is just his ability to run the ball. And Jalen Hurts is a smart runner, but he's also, he's physical. Like he's not necessarily someone who avoids contact all the time. So it is what it is. You have to embrace that kind of volatility with him. And I think the biggest thing with Hurts is if that was his only attribute, it would be a different story. This would be a far bigger risk, but he really showed that he can pass the ball. I mean, he can really, especially in the offense that the Eagles were running, more of a quick strike, get the ball out quick. He can be extremely accurate. He can put it up, the jump ball up in good spots for guys like AJ Brown. Doesn't have the biggest arm, but again, his arm isn't going to be necessarily, I don't think an issue until later on. So it's just a win-win. The Eagles should have an opportunity here to build around. The question mark is, do they still have enough room to build? Because the offense is fine. It's what's going to happen on the other side of the ball. They have a bit of an aging secondary. It started to slow down at the end of the year, especially in the playoffs. If that's too much of an issue, do they have the space now to rebuild that defense? I don't know. That's the trouble with paying your quarterback in this league. The Chiefs have managed to do it, but the Chiefs have Mahomes. Haven't seen it work out for too many other teams. The Rams did it, but they had some elite pieces in defense there that I would argue that Eagles don't necessarily have at this point. No one has Aaron Donald. I mean, it's not.
Well, I'm sorry. What was your comparison of the Chiefs and the Rams? What was that again?
Well, because they both paid their quarterback. And they were able to win Super Bowls with a high-end quarterback who were, 40 mil a year kind of guys, 30, 40 million years kind of guy, which is what Hurts is now, obviously. So building around the expensive quarterback, we've seen it pay dividends with the Rams and the Chiefs, but, you have to have things roll right. And, if it doesn't, as we saw with the Rams, it can blow up pretty quick.
Right. That's right. Okay. I forgot that the Rams had, I thought for a second, I thought you were talking about Jared Goff, but yes, they did give an extension to Matthew Stafford through 20. Wow. I forgot about this. 4 years, 160.
Yeah. He got paid.
Yeah. I missed that.
Stafford got paid. Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot. Well, of course it wasn't a 12-year Mahomes mega deal, right?
No.
Considering the age. But yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's,
and the Rams aren't really a great comparison for the Eagles. The Rams are more of a one and done shot. Stafford is an aging quarterback.
Right.
The Chiefs are actually a better comparison because they have a younger quarterback.
Yes.
They already have some pieces in place, and now they just need to be able to kind of look for some value deals, shore up weaknesses as each season goes on. And, I think like the Chiefs, you'll probably see the Eagles be competitive year after year, but again, like Jalen Hurts isn't Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there's only one Patrick Mahomes in the league. So
I'll give you a negative. The negative comp to this would be Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right. Or not negative, but are the Cowboys like, do we look at the Cowboys as like, wow, they were geniuses to do that? Like Dak's fine for the NFC, but
yeah. And that's the thing where that's what I'm saying. Like if you're every non-Chiefs team, when they get to this point with their quarterback has a legitimate question because Dak Prescott's fine. And it's fine to build around him, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's more limited. And, if you pay him, the rest of your team is the rest of your space is limited too. So that's what I'm saying. They have a legitimate question mark where they can choose to go back to the QB market, the rookie quarterback, get another guy in a rookie contract, rebuild on the fly. Teams who get high-end quarterbacks early on, it works out or it doesn't. Look at Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. Hasn't done anything, but look at Joe Burrow. I mean, from day one, even with the massive knee injury, has completely turned the franchise around and he's on a rookie deal. So, this is the dilemma when you get there with a guy like Dak Prescott. I would put Jalen Hurts at this point in his career above Dak Prescott. I just think he's just a more versatile player. Mm-hmm. I think he's just a little bit more high end, but you're right to bring them up. I think it's actually a fairly good comparison. Yeah.
Well, meaning if it goes sideways, like I'm saying, Mahomes is of course like the highest bar you want to set.
Right. Like if Jalen Hurts regresses a bit and for sure. Absolutely.
There's a USA Today article, and we can move on after this, that says with an AAV of 51 million for Jalen Hurts, it's a 27.5% increase comparing Prescott's deal at 40 per year to Hurts. So that's the increase in which the Eagles had to pay up for, with the market being the market. And then just to kind of wrap this up too, Rappaport was live, or Pelissero was live on some show, that this isn't going to impact Lamar Jackson that much because the Ravens had already made their offer of $200 million. I mean, do you think it makes an impact? I don't know.
I think that the Ravens are just, they have a number and this isn't really going to affect it. I do. Yeah. I mean, I think I wouldn't say straight up that it's not going to affect it at all. Cause who it affects is Lamar Jackson. I mean, Lamar Jackson probably looks over and says, I was the MVP. If anything, I'm maybe better than Jalen Hurts. So I wouldn't say that it doesn't affect this at all. Maybe it doesn't affect the Ravens, but it affects the Ravens and Lamar Jackson and their relationship, because I think it just makes Lamar's stance even stronger. So I would say this deal probably even goes to say that like there's even less of a chance that Lamar Jackson comes back to Baltimore. Why would he take less than what Jalen Hurts got? I don't really. I mean, I'm not even getting into like a Lamar Jackson discussion here. It's just MVP, same kind of age, probably more accomplishments. Why would he take less? I mean, we could sit here and argue who's better. I mean, I would probably actually rather have Jalen Hurts. So I would be on that side of the argument, but certainly from a market standpoint, Lamar Jackson is well within his right to say, I deserve that. And he's, I'm not going to take anything less. So.
Right. And say Hurts had won the MVP, Lamar might be like, and look, he's an MVP too. Look, I was an MVP before this guy. Almost the Ravens would be even more screwed, I think. But
personally, I think that relationship is toast anyways. I know the OBJ thing kind of made it look like maybe he was coming back, but I think the OBJ signing, I think the thing that people are overlooking with Odell Beckham is that the Ravens offered him $15 million a year. That was just the best deal on the market for him. I mean, so I don't really think him going there had anything to do with Lamar Jackson. I'm sure the idea that maybe Lamar would come back and they play together was nice, but I mean, was there another team offering him $15 million?
No, you said this exact thing last week when we talked about this. So you've been consistent on that. All right, let's go to Stanley Cup playoffs. They start tonight. Yes. Islanders, Canes, it's 7-ish. Panthers, Bruins start shortly after. And then the nightcap, Wild, Stars, Kings, Oilers. What do you like? We'll start with the early games.
Yeah, let's start with the early games. Start with the Islanders, man. Let's go with the upset right off the bat. I'm just take the Islanders money line here. Ilya Sorokin in net, guy who's up there with the MVP candidate in some regards. A bunch of shutouts. Islanders, I really like the move they brought in, getting Bo Horvat. They're deep at center. They have guys that can go up against Aho. Carolina Hurricanes going to be starting Antti Ranta in net. I don't really love the choice, to be honest, but that's where they've gone. They don't have Svechnikov, which I've always thought is going to hurt them. The Islanders team that's just kind of made for the playoffs. I don't know. I mean, the Hurricanes have owned this series, but again, we're getting plus 145. We've got an elite goaltender. We're expecting this to be a close defensive series. I'll take the team with, I think, the better goaltenders on the Islanders. So plus 145. I'm going to take the money line here. If Carolina really comes out and dominates, I'll probably stay away from the Islanders the rest of the series, but definitely going to take a shot tonight with them. I think the under is actually fine here too, if you wanted to play that side, but I'm just going to play straight up for the upset.
Okay.
Haven't really.
What did that total open at? 6?
No, I'm pretty sure it opened at 5. Yeah. It's almost
5 or 5.5.
No, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it opened at 5.5. It's actually almost at 5 because we're getting minus 130 on the under. So clearly people looking for, some kind of 3-1 game, 3-2 game. Mm-hmm. You almost have to pay. Yeah. I mean, you're almost getting even money on 5 at this point, which is kind of crazy. So, but that's the kind of game we're expecting. Right. And again, which just leads me to take the Islanders, who I in my opinion, they have the better goalie. So that one's pretty straightforward for me. The Panthers Boston is really, I don't know what to do here.
Boston
has come out and said there's a flu running around their locker room. The Panthers they've just run me in circles all season long. Their offense has looked just as good as it has been as it was last season at points. They were creating more chances down the stretch. Their shooting percentage went up down the stretch, but I just don't know, man. I mean, this is the Boston Bruins. I would say this is probably a good spot just to take the Panthers as well. It's game 1. If the Bruins come out and flatten them or just win, this one just might be over early and you can kind of just forget about it. But I think if there's ever a chance where I might just take the Panthers, it would be in game 1. It's a pretty solid line here at plus 190. The Panthers have not been good on the road. We know the Bruins, but Allmark was a little bit banged up down the stretch. Mm-hmm. It is first playoff kind of run here. The Panthers are going to get some chances, man. I mean, they're a really, really high end team in terms of, center and stuff, but this is also one I almost just might lay off here. I kind of like the under as well. If I'm probably picking sides, but I did this game. I don't know. This is one I'm kind of just staying away from, if I'm being dead honest.
Yeah. So Patrice Bergeron absent today. Who else? There's some other notable names. I had this list up a few minutes ago, but it's now trying to keep track of who's in and who's out, or not who's in and who's out, but who was present.
Yeah, who was. Yeah.
But yes, Allmark I think is good to go. Yeah, I'll find it somewhere. But I know Bergeron. And, well, the thing with Bergeron too from over the weekend, it was he's dealing with an injury because he played in the Montreal game. He's from there, wanted to play there. I think could be his last season, so he wanted to finish out. So when Jim Montgomery spoke, Bruins head coach, he said, "Well, he's dealing with an injury, and he's dealing with an illness. If he's fine, he'll play." Which is well. if he's fine, or I apologize. If he feels better, he'll play. Well,
yeah, look,
you could feel better from an injury. You could also feel better if you're not feeling
Patrice
well.
Bergeron would probably have to be hospitalized to not play, in my opinion. Like he would have to be extremely serious. This dude's not sitting out just because he's a little sick. At the same time, like I do think that like I like the underdogs in both the Eastern Conference series tonight. I think that a good way to play it is just take the money line on both. You get one, you're going to be up units if you weight it equally. I kind of like that approach tonight. I'm not really super huge on the Panthers' chances, but this is a bit of a weird wrinkle we're getting, and some of this stuff is kind of bad timing for the Bruins. It's a completely new season. I think the Panthers do have a lot to prove after last year and just how the way their season has gone. So I don't have a problem with it. That's probably how I'm going to play it tonight. Certainly already bet the Islanders anyways. The West's a different story though. I like both the favorites in the West tonight quite a bit. The Kings have already started to talk themselves out of this series, how they're going to hit Connor McDavid. Absolutely good luck with that, LA Kings. I may even take the Oilers just on the puck line tonight.
Okay.
Regulation, I kind of like that as well. The Kings are in a tough spot. They were really bad down the stretch. They had like a 3-7 run at one point. They've even been worse than that. Kevin Fiala is out. Gabriel Velarde is out. Those are two of their top 6. Like this Kings team is pretty deep, but they're not that deep that they can just be like, oh yeah, Kevin Fiala's out. That's fine. We'll be fine. They need Jonas Korpisalo to absolutely be like Vasilevsky. Now, that's the one thing that scares me about this series is Korpisalo. It's a very good goalies. Finnish guys are super elite, but especially in net. That's not enough for me to go against the Oilers here, though. The Oilers were an absolute truck down the stretch. This nonsense talk by Drew Doughty, I don't think it's going to go well. I think this Kings team is a little bit reeling. I think the Oilers in like 5 here. I'm going to take them tonight. Again, maybe the 60-minute line or something like that. Yeah, it's a late game, so you don't have to bet it right away. You can kind of wait and see, but
yeah,
and I like the Stars.
Minus 110 for the Oilers on the 60-minute line. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think that's probably the way I'll go. I like it. Anyways, I like the Stars as well. I just think that the Wild, again, have been banged up. I just think the Stars are just a better team. Like I really like the Stars' chances. They have Ottinger and net, who I really like. Battles hard. They just have a lot of depth. Even like the Stars are a team, they could get down in this game. Their offense could just bring them right back. They get up, they can play shutdown. There's just so many ways that they can get there for us. The elite top line. I love Jason Robertson. I think minus 145 is actually a very good number. Like you look at these two games, the Oilers at minus 200 and the Stars at minus 145. You know, you could argue maybe the Oilers are a little bit overvalued, but if anything, I think the Stars are undervalued at minus 145. So I just like that. Again, maybe even looking to the 60-minute line again there for a little bit better, bigger number. But either way, I like the two favorites on the West. I think minus 140. You look at these two games.
Oh, sorry. I just pulled up YouTube. I know what I was going to say. Any series plays you want to give out?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, because
that's a future, I guess, technically. So,
okay, let me get to the series props. Here we go. Again, I think playing the Oilers to win in like 5 or 6 games is really nice. Again, biased. I bet the Oilers on the futures, but I mean, I took a pretty broad approach to this series. I didn't make any, decisions going in until kind of the last day or two. I just don't see a path here for the Kings. Their path is Korpisalo has to absolutely play out of his mind. If Jonas Korpisalo beats us, that's fine, but I think Oilers minus 1.5 and maybe even Oilers minus 2.5 at plus 195 is interesting. I like the Stars better, though. Again, I would rather take the Stars at minus 1.5 at plus 120. You're getting a way better number. I think the Stars will take care of it there in 5 or 6. Certainly don't mind playing the 1.5 spread there, or excuse me, the 1.5 spread there. So Stars in 6 or 6 or less, I don't mind, and I don't mind the Toronto Maple Leafs either to get this done this year in 6 games or less. I think that is I think this is the Leafs season to get out of the first round and to really just put this rivalry to rest. They're the better team. They've been the better team this season. Tampa struggled at points. Asking the Lightning just to keep getting it going during the playoffs, I think is too much. I know it's Vasilevsky. He's great. But I like the Leafs minus 1.5 as well. You can, and I don't mind parlaying some of these series, like maybe the Stars, like the Stars and the Leafs is something I kind of looking at as well. I mean, I'm not looking at, I did bet. So I kind of like that, getting like minus 150-ish range on both teams there to win their series outright. I like that. Stars and the Leafs. Parlay them together. Upset call, like the Jets over the Golden Knights.
Right.
Again, another close defensive series with the Jets just have the better goalie. They've got a lot of top end talent. I like the Golden Knights. It's just I think this is a really bad matchup for them in the first round. I think this is a team in the Jets who do a lot of the same things they do, and they can do some of them better. If the Jets goal scorers get going, like Nikolai Ehlers gets going or something, I mean, they're going to be tough to beat, man. And it's tough playing in Canada in the playoffs. It really is. When they get into Winnipeg, that is going to be a really loud arena. I know that Golden Knights are kind of used to it as well, but it's a little bit different atmosphere. I like the Jets plus 140 just to win that outright.
All right, good deal. There you go. Some series prices, and you take Winnipeg just to win the series. You don't want to mess with the minus 1.5 or.
No, I'll just take them straight up. Yeah.
Okay. All right, you'll do golf later this week. I know your article will be coming over at.
The golf stuff's late to get out. They haven't released the prices yet because it's the team event. I did bet Sahith Thigala, excuse me, and Justin Suh, that team, and then I also bet Ben Martin and Chesson Hadley. Oh, and I bet Sam Ryder and I can't remember who he's playing with. The Sam Ryder team.
Okay. Look forward to more on Wednesday when you do the slate.
Better info for the golf on Wednesday.
Yeah. And you'll probably do some golf. I know we got the full.
I'll have my article up hopefully by tonight if they release the salaries. This whole week is the sports books are struggling with the teams. They can't compute the odds fast enough. I don't know. Right. Anyways.
So you'll be back on the sweat later this week. I know we've got the Jared Carrabis baseball.
The special. Baseball takeover on Tuesday. Wow. This baseball sport.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, of course it does. I mean, look.
Baseball,
we got the dog days of summer coming up, man. Baseball, even I bet baseball in the summer. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, and Tuesdays and Fridays are usually pretty good days with baseball because the slates are just big on Tuesdays. Rarely do you get an off day on like a Tuesday.
I always make fun of the baseball geeks, but I really like baseball. It's a great game.
All right. Well, there you go. Check that out. That's the debut of the sweat with Carrabis, Jesse Emerson.
Buchanan's on there too.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently he's a baseball sharp guy.
Yeah.
This is like only time of year where he works. What has he been doing for the last 4 months? Jeez, that guy, I tell you.
On that note, for Jeff Ulrich, Brendan Glashy, thanks for watching, everybody. You all have a great Monday. Enjoy the hockey, and we will talk to you again.
Oh, man, coming up, Glash. You missed it, dude. Call the matchup.
Madden coming up. What do we got? Dolphins, Bears?
Yeah, Miami.
Dolphins and
Miami and the Commanders.
All right. Enjoy, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.